Hello, just a short video this week. You are just days away from handing in your first assignment. So just a couple of reminders. When you're referring to posts, I'm talking about the posts of peers, not your own posts, though you might have been part of that conversation, and preferably not my posts. I mean, you might again refer to a conversation that I've been a part of, but as your ELA, I'm really just there to facilitate and extend a little bit. So posts of two peers. I notice people getting onto discussion boards a lot more now, so well done on that. Make sure you try to get a grip on that theory in the first 4 weeks, because that's what this first assignment really is about. It's more about your theory than your examples. So we've looked at the move from traditional to critical security theories. I posted, particularly in the first couple of weeks, some key questions you can ask. Who are the actors? What is the security approach looking at? How does it define security? Is it critiquing security approaches? And in that case, what is it looking at when it critiques security approaches? So this week, for example, we looked at a gendered approach to security. There were some great posts and quotes on that. I just want to remind you of one thing. There's obviously a lot on balancing the scales when it comes to women and the impact of various security factors on them. However, a gendered approach is not actually a feminist approach. It is different. Now, it's not to say that a gendered approach will naturally take into account women, but it will also take into account men. So the premise of the gendered approach is not that security impacts women disproportionately. Security issues like war, even though perhaps that could be argued, but that is actually not the premise of it. The premise of it is that to really take a more holistic approach to security studies, you cannot assume that gender is just monolithic, that security affects individuals as if they're all one and the same. So what it's actually saying is there will be different impacts on men as there are to women. Now, you take a look at child soldiers, just as one example. Now, 40% of child soldiers are actually women these days in Uganda and around the Congo region. That's sort of the numbers they're finding. But they find that sort of the young boys or males are more likely to be impacted by direct violence or having to go out and commit atrocities and crimes, whereas the women are more likely to be used as sex slaves and end up, with teen pregnancies and so on. So there's different impacts for both. So who would use a gendered approach? Well, probably some development agencies, some NGOs, possibly some of the countries that have these types of situations. They may, if they really want to take a sophisticated long-term look at conflict resolution, they may start taking a gendered approach. Typically, we don't see it in our governments. For example, the Australian government, say the Defence Agency or Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, you tend not to see sophisticated gender approaches. You tend to see a more national, traditional approach. So that's just my reflections on this week. Anyway, ask any questions if you have them with regards to your assignment coming up. I look forward to seeing your work. And well done on getting into those discussion board posts. I've been really enjoying it, and I've got to say everyone seems to be on the right track, and you're digging into those essential readings, which is what you need to be able to do, and you're responding to each other. So I can't ask for much more than that. Thanks, everyone.